As a freshman at UC Berkeley, I felt shocked by how many students and professors would casually step over sleeping bodies on the sidewalk or blindly look past signs for spare change or food. I wouldn't be like that. I knew I would do something about it. So I signed up to volunteer at a daytime shelter for women. The shelter itself was located in a small yellow home on a quiet street. I wanted to help women because I thought it would be easier to relate to them. So on the second day, an elderly woman approached me, and she asked if I could help her find a place to sleep near a hospital, where she frequently visited due to her various chronic pains. I eagerly said sure, but I had no idea what to do about it next. I asked the shelter manager what we should do, and I learned a new term, Section 8, a form of public housing with notoriously long wait lists, and began to dial numbers for the client. I listened to her greet the other line with, "Hello, I'm homeless, I need help." I went through the process just as she did, as if we were calling for a taxi ride home. Although we finally found a place for her to stay, her words lurked in my head, following me into the comfort of my dorm. I had already forgotten the woman's name, and I wasn't even sure if she would have a place to sleep the following day. I was helping, but I was helping out of pity. I knew that this had to change. I had to stop asking myself, how can I help? And I had to change that thinking into, what am I doing or not doing that is causing the problem, and what can I change about that? I needed to start asking out of accountability, not responsibility. The next day I let the shelter know that I could no longer volunteer there, and I joined a student group called the Suitcase Clinic that focused on building genuine relationships with clients who are homeless, and from there, working together to find solutions. I ended up working with the Suitcase Clinic until I graduated. We didn't end homelessness in Berkeley, and we knew we would never get to that point in the 4 years that I was there. But we built a movement on campus to educate people to stop, take notice, and learn from one another. Because as we become more aware of how when even just one is depressed, we realize that all of us are not free. As second-year core members, remember when you spent that extra hour or two after school helping a student and never got a thank you, and a thought of a little appreciation would be nice flashed across your mind? We have had that moment of pity when the student tells us that no one is there to take care of them, or that there is no money for food at home. Then we might swing back to being activists and trying to seek out long-term change. This is what I realized when I was helping Eduardo, one of my high-achieving students who was skipping school to help a gang sell drugs. I felt that pity immediately. I felt like asking, how can I help? What can I do to protect him? And so I showered him with praise the next day he came to school, reminding him how smart he was and how I loved working with him. But this wasn't enough. He kept missing school, and I began to feel like a failure. I could have given up then, but then I said that this wasn't within my locus of control. I had to see what I was doing or not doing that contributed to this problem. I had to develop a stronger relationship with his mom to end this problem. And soon, as we began talking more and more, we realized that Eduardo just needed more leadership opportunities at school instead of bolting home right after the bell rang. When this happens to students like Eduardo, at that point, it doesn't even matter if we get a thank you. What matters is that we recognize that we are just as much part of the problem as we are the solution. We've accepted the mission to end this social inequity, the fact that 50% of our students are set up to not graduate from high school. But we have accepted this challenge and are teaching to change this. And we know that this will not end in our 2 years, but will be our burden for the entire generation. But we are now facing an opportunity to either continue the work we've been doing or let our significant gains slip back. We are approaching the end of our commitment to teaching in the classroom and will soon join an alumni movement that is currently 28,000 strong. Some of us will stay in the classroom and some of us will leave, but Los Angeles will continue to grow. Next year, Los Angeles is aiming to create its largest core member region yet. And with the Common Core arriving, it is more important now than ever before to have a strong group of 2013 core members with diverse experiences and backgrounds from all across the country come and teach in Los Angeles. However, many are struggling to accept the decision because they live out of state and do not have the funding. If we lose these exceptional teachers, then we will lose more students to gangs, hunger, and addiction. So, what I'm calling on all of us to do is to donate 1 hour of your salary to the Second Year Giving campaign, which raises money for transitional funding for incoming 2013 core members. I know that money is tight and that you still have rent and student loans to pay, But with every dollar that you give, we come closer to bringing an exceptional teacher to teach our students. And most importantly, we are saying that our 2011 core is not just about helping. We're about asking ourselves, how am I responsible for leaving a great and lasting legacy? How am I responsible in ensuring that Teach for America Los Angeles continues to thrive after I've completed my commitment? This donation is just the first step, but it's a crucial one to answering our questions. If we can show our solidarity through donations, then we are sending a strong message to the future core members that Los Angeles is thriving, and we need you to continue teaching our exceptional children.